Waking up in a strange new place with no memory of his past life, Kelvin learns that he's bartered away those very memories in exchange for powerful new abilities during his recent transmigration, heading out into a whole new world as a summoner, with his first follower being the very goddess who brought him over. Kelvin begins his new life as an adventurer, and it isn't long before he discovers his hidden disposition as a battle junkie. From the Black Knight of the ancient castle of evil spirits to the demon within the hidden cave of the sage, he revels in the fight against one formidable foe after another. Join this opus adventurer in an exhilarating and epic saga as he and his allies carve their way into the annals of history. In exchange for his memories, a man named Kelvin was given the chance to get reincarnated into another world with some overpowered skills. He died because of a mistake made by the gods, and because of that, his encounter with the goddess of reincarnation occurred. For the wish of a new and prosperous life in another world, Kelvin accepted this offer, and when he woke up, he found himself in the middle of a jungle filled with otherworldly creatures. He got a status screen open, from which he started the instruction menu. He heard a female voice, which instructed him to check his stats. From there, Kelvin realized that he had started his journey from the very beginning, with his class being a summoner. Now that things were all cleared, Kelvin headed to the nearby town in order to become an adventurer and start his journey. On his way, Kelvin was told about his previous life, which was taken away by mistake by a god, who then went to Melphina, the goddess of reincarnation. She was then asked by Kelvin to accompany him on his journey, as he had fallen for her. In the end, they had reached the city, where he was continuously talking with Melphina. The town folks thought of him as crazy, and Kelvin understood that. He ran away and reached the guild. Kelvin went there and filled up the registration form. But before he could fill up his class details, Melphina told him that summoners are pretty rare to be found in this world, almost one per nation. On top of that, he's an S rank, which will definitely draw the attention of the rulers towards him. Understanding that fact, Kelvin decided to fill up his class as a green mage. After a while, he was given his F rank guild membership card and was told about the basic guild rules by the guild lady Aegis. He then asked for some low rank quests and selected the one to defeat Blue Slime. Before going out on his quest, he bought a wooden rod as a weapon. They went to the fields and saw some slime. Melphina told him that in order to summon a creature, he needs to lower their health and then offer them the contract for being a summon of his. He used his S-ranked appraisal eye and checked the slime's stats. Kelvin decided to attack them physically, as using magic would kill the slime. He attacked them, but they all evaded the attacks and counterattacked on him. After a while, Kelvin understood that the slimes were escaping because of their high agility. He used his high-speed attack and lowered the slime's HP. He then used the summon's contract and successfully absorbed the slime. He named it Clotho and realized that it was happy that the master could talk to his summons. Kelvin called Clotho out and told him to desynthesize the cores of other slimes by absorbing them. He used magic against them, while Clotho defeated them themselves. He was getting a lot stronger because of his master's S rank, which is giving him a 100 level buff. He got overwhelmed knowing about it. Now that their first quest was completed, they went back to the guild and received their reward. On his way to the inn, Kelvin saw a slave trader in an alley. He thought of buying one of them and keeping it as a party member. There, a half-elf got his attention, but he didn't say anything and went to the inn. He found the Spirit Song Inn, where he met the owner, Claire. He took a room and asked her about a meal. She prepared a tasty dinner for him. Kelvin enjoyed the food while thinking about the unknown adventures that are waiting for him in this new world. 1 week had passed, and using his double growth rate skill along with the double experience skill, Kelvin was able to unlock another skill set, for which he chose a skill called concealment to hide his true nature so that he could live a life without getting too much unnecessary attention. Later, when he reached the guild, he was told that he had achieved the E rank as a summoner. The people around him were suspicious. He did not want to gather people's attention but had done the same unknowingly. Ange asked about him being a court mage in the past, as he's very strong for a beginner. Kelvin told her that he had no memory of his past. He asked for a rank D quest, for which a man standing nearby came to him. His name was Cashel, and he suggested Kelvin accompany his party to defeat the Black Ghost Knight. Ange is worried about him, as the Black Ghost Knight is reported to be a lot stronger than others. Kelvin declined his offer, telling him that he would only back him down as he's still a rookie. He checked Cashel's stats and found them to be equal to Clotho's, but his title, Murderer, got his attention. He understood that this Cashel guy was not up to good things, and in order to handle him, Kelvin ended up challenging him for a race to defeat the Black Ghost Knight. Cashel accepted this challenge and went out of the guild to meet his party members. He asked them if they had gotten any information on Kelvin, for which they had nothing because of his high-level concealment skills. Later, they went to the Wicked Spirit's castle and found all the undead monsters to be defeated. They were shocked, as they had never expected anyone to be faster than them. Kelvin came out and told them that he knew about them. They thought of him as a bounty hunter, as both of Cashel's party members were criminals. He provoked the man named Raj, who ran straight into him and got caught in his trap called Mudvine. He then attacked him with wind magic. Seeing that, the other party member got terrified and ran away. Kelvin summoned Clotho there. Clotho, who had now evolved into a slime Glutenia, chased Gimel back inside and defeated him as well. Raj escaped from the trap but got handled by Clotho. Kelvin took down Cashel and went in to defeat the Black Ghost Knight. Inside, he saw the Black Ghost Knight, Gerard, at level 53, standing there waiting for him. Kelvin told him that he had come here to defeat him but had now changed his mind and wanted him to join his party. Later, Gerard told Kelvin that he was the first person to talk to him after a very long time, as people usually just ran into him with swords. He told him that he used to be a knight and protected his country very long ago. Kelvin got fed up with his talks and asked him about the summoning contract that he had presented. Gerard said that he wanted to serve a new king, and to become king, Kelvin challenged Gerard to prove himself. The battle with Kelvin and Clotho against Gerard began. All of them were giving their fullest on both offense and defense. Kelvin used a spell called Air Pressure, which pushed Gerard onto the ground. Gerard went against the spell and suddenly remembered his life in the country of Alcarl. One day, an elf named Jidora came to their king and told him to offer his nation. The king refused, and on that, the elf threatened him that they would face the consequences. Soon, the whole nation fell ill from some unknown disease, and everyone died. Gerard was broken, as both his wife and daughter were deceased. He was the only living soul that remained in the nation, and so he left. The feeling of vengeance for his country pushed him forward. He broke the spell and attacked Kelvin. He blocked off Gerard's attacks and used Clotho to land the final blow. The next day, he went to the guild with a fragment of the Black Ghost Knight's armor and received the reward for it. Everyone was happy as Cashel and his party of criminals got caught. They all celebrated his victory. Ange told him that the guild master personally wanted to congratulate him for his victory against the Black Ghost Knight. He went ahead and saw the guild master waiting for him. The guild master exchanged greetings with Kelvin and asked him a totally unexpected question. At the beginning of his story, he asked if Kelvin had come from another world. Kelvin used his appraisal eye and saw that the guildmaster himself had an rank appraisal eye, because of which he could see Kelvin's real identity. He confirmed that Kelvin's a summoner. Kelvin did not want to answer that, but Gerard told him to not hide his true identity from potential allies, and on that, Kelvin confirmed it. He asked Leo, the guildmaster, if he would have known about Cashel and his party members being criminals. Leo knew about it and said that it was a troublesome job for them to deal with, as Cashel's a noble from the military nation of Trison. But now that he had been exposed, they were sure to take strict action against him. They got to the main topic, where Leo told him that he had met the heroes that were summoned from another world. In the Holy Empire of Durames, the priestess summoned the heroes as she had heard the prophecy of God about the revival of the Demon King. Melfina told him that she was the one who had reincarnated the heroes. Now that the heroes are focused on the Demon King, Leo wanted Kelvin to protect them from the monsters that are attacking the country, as the guild does not have members who can clear B rank or higher jobs, and for that reason, he decided to provide him with financial aid along with increasing his adventurer rank so that he could take up higher ranking jobs as well. He then asked Kelvin the reason for hiding his true identity, and he answered it himself by saying that he wanted to save himself from political power struggles. Now that they know about each other, the rewards for his work are favorable, and for that, Kelvin accepted his offer and decided to work with him. Back at the inn, Kelvin told Claire about his promotion to a higher rank. She was overjoyed and decided to cook special food for him. He went up and asked Melfina about the heroes while having lunch. She told him about the summoning ritual performed by the priestess of Durames, and because of that, she summoned some kids into this world a while ago. Kelvin took the money bag and went out to buy a slave so that he could increase his strength by having a strong party. There, he saw a man on fire who was rescued by the slave trader. The man went away, cursing the cursed slave girl. The trader told him about the half-elf being cursed. Kelvin used appraisal eye and saw her as being cursed by a fire dragon king's curse. He asked Melfina about it, and she told him to use a sacred blessing spell. Kelvin set out to get the spell. Later, Kelvin came back and bought Ethel. The slave trader warned him, but he got her anyway. On the way to the inn, they both introduced each other, and Kelvin asked her to join his party. She was afraid because of her curse, but Kelvin used the sacred bless spell and broke the curse. She started crying, as it was her first time touching someone without hurting them. She was sold off as a slave when she was born and didn't know anything about her curse either. She thanked him, and they went to the inn. At the inn, Kelvin asked for the food, but Claire refused, saying that she first wanted to clean Ethel and dress her properly. She took Ethel and later came out with her dressed in a maid outfit. Kelvin praised her and had food with her. After the food, he told her about Melfina, Clotho, and Gerard as his summons. He gave her the double growth rate and double skill points as her skills. But at night, things got messy as there were no rooms available with 2 beds, so they had to share one. Now that almost 1 month had passed, Kelvin and his party were improving from there on. In the dark purple forest, they were all killing monsters. Ethel had her archery skills along with the far-seeing skills. She used the Fire Dragon King's grease and combined them all to use blaze arrows. With that, she killed the wicked Sagatree. They had cleared off 9 quests in a row, and with that, they were soon going to reach Ranka. They also discussed the mock exam that Ethel passed with a breeze. Ange told her about a new sweet shop that had opened recently and invited her. Ethel invited Kelvin too, and all of them agreed to meet tomorrow. The next day, Kelvin went there and found Ange. Soon Ethel came too, and both of them praised her dress and her looks too. They went to the sweet shop and ordered some sweets. Both the girls tried to feed Kelvin from their hands, and after hearing that, the locals started whispering various rumors. Just then, Tabra, the 3rd prince of Trison, kicked their table and reminded him of the law that commoners cannot have romance in public. Kelvin defeated his guards and used air pressure, then asked the prince his reason for coming into Parth. He wanted to make the strong adventurer serve him so that he could increase his dominance in his kingdom. Kel defeated him as well, and the scene shifted to the great cathedral of the Holy Empire of Daramis. The priestess named Colette is called Melfina. She heard her plea and asked about the heroes she had reincarnated for her. She showed her a magic ball in which all of their personal details were stored. Colette asked for an oracle, to which Melfina instructed her to send the heroes to the western continent and to keep them away from Parth. At night, Kelvin decided to buy a house as things were getting out of his hands. The next day, the party was checking the heroes' stats. Melfina had returned as well. She told them that she was disappointed with the growth of the heroes, as the maximum they had reached was level 53. Compared to them, Kelvin and his team were doing a lot better. His blacksmithing skill had improved a lot, and because of that, he had made an A-rank staff out of the wicked Sagatree for himself, an A-rank dreadnought for Gerard, and some other B-rank equipment. While they were discussing it, Claire arrived and told Kelvin that the guild had called him. The scene shifted to Leo and Kel, where he was being informed about a demon witnessing in a rank D dungeon called the Hermit's Cave. In a sealed room, the demon was sensed. Leo told him that this quest could turn out to be an S-rank quest. He also mentioned the incident with Prince Tabra. Kel changed the topic and agreed on going to the Hermit's Cave. At the Hermit's Cave, Kel meets Erd, who explains the situation to him. Knowing about it, Kel decided to put Ethel in the back and go down with Gerard and Clotho. In the secret room, they found the sealed door, which they opened and went inside. There, they saw a demon girl hanging with chains around her. They were welcomed by Archdemon Victor. Kel asked about the girl, but Victor first sealed the door, then told her that she's the daughter of the Demon King Gustav. Out of the 3 previous Demon Kings, Gustav was the most recent one. Victor told him that it was his trap to lure humans in so that they could break the chains of the Demon King's daughter. His plan was to devour the humans to gain their power to reawaken Sira. It was his skill called Gluttony with which he would inherit human abilities, and then he would devour Sira to become the next Demon King. He attacked the party and Gerard blocked him. Seeing his overwhelming power, Kelvin became excited, as he now had an S-rank enemy to fight with. Victor asked him the reason for the wicked smile on his face. Kel told him the truth, hearing Victor summon the Hades army using his black magic. Kel was impressed by it, and thus the battle began. The summoned monsters were of almost B rank, which Kel defeated with his wind strikes. Gerard, on the other hand, also took down a lot of them, but they kept on coming. Kel cleared his side of enemies and went to Victor. Victor wanted to wipe the grin off of his face, and for that, he punched the ground and hid in the dust cloud. From there, he went to the ground and attacked them from behind. Gerard blocked the attacks, but Victor was using his other arm to attack Kelvin as well. Kel was holding him off too, but then Victor pushed away Gerard and focused on Kel. Kel dodged most of his attacks but was about to get bitten by him. Just then, Clotho came in and got one of Victor's arms. He used magic absorption and took away Victor's magic. Kel used Glory Sanctuary and caught one of its arms. Gerard came back. Kel assisted him with Vortex Edge, but there was something that Victor had hidden from them. One of his arms was still immersed in the ground. He took it behind Kel to attack him, but Kel had something as well. Stealth Ethel came behind Victor and used the Blaze Arrow, which Victor blocked with his hand and got petrified. Jared completed his attack and severed Victor's other arm. Kel called back his party, and Victor transformed into a monstrous being using Jin's scrimmage. To prevent his complete transformation, all of them used their most powerful attacks but failed to stop Victor. The final phase of the battle began with Victor rushing into them. Kel grew up with a rock shield, but it broke, so Gerard came forward and protected the party. He got beaten, but Ethel backed him up, and then Clodo attacked him with cursed weapons that he had stored. These were the failed weapons that Kelvin had created. Kel used the Radiant Lancer along with Ethel's Blaze Arrow and Clotho's Beam too. Victor saw Sira and took the attack on him. The attack broke the roof, and Sira was about to get crushed. Victor went to her place and protected her with his own body. Kel went to him and asked him why he had lied to them. He told them that he wouldn't have fought him fiercely if he had told her the truth. It all began several hundred years ago when the Demon King gave Sira's responsibility to Victor. She was kept as a secret to protect her from his enemies. In a huge mansion, she used to live alone. Victor trains her and gives her meals, and her father comes to meet her too. But in the end, the heroes go into his castle and defeat him. Before his demise, Gustav gave Victor the responsibility to look after his daughter, and to prevent her from being found, he put up a seal on her that only humans could break, so anyone except the hero would not be able to hurt her. Victor, on the other hand, wanted Princess Sira to be the next Demon King in the end, but his plans failed. As his last wish, Victor asked Kelvin to let Sira join his party as he's a strong and trusted person. Kel offered him to form a contract as well, but Victor refused, saying that his loyalty only lies with the Demon King. With these last words, Victor died. Kelvin went to her and broke the seal. Sira woke up and started crying. A camouflaging hairband comes down, which the Demon King had prepared for her. With that, her horns and wings got hidden. Kel took her on his back and went out. He showed her a piece of Victor's armor as proof of the defeated demon and told Sira to be a member of the first party that had gone there. Gerard was acting strange. He soon evolved into an Abyssal Knight commander with some terrific stats. Sira, on the other hand, was feeling a bit nervous as it was her first time coming out of the mansion. Kel and Ethel supported her, and they all went to the town together. There, Sira got overexcited by seeing all the new things that she had never seen before. Kel went to Leo, who had promoted him to rank A, but when he came back to Inn, he found that Ange had held a party for his promotion. People were enjoying it while he realized that people were being suspicious about his relationship with Sira, as she's the new girl. At midnight, when everyone was asleep, Kel looked for Sira, who was sitting outside, remembering her late caretaker, Victor. She was happy to come outside. She remembered the promise that he had made to teach her to swim in the ocean. It's still her dream, for which she's ready to work hard. Now, with Kel's newly formed agreement with Sira, he had an additional team member to support. Both Kel and Ethel had successfully achieved rank S in their blacksmithing and sewing skills. This mastery allowed Kel to construct a gauntlet-based weapon named Erendite from Victor's armor for Sira, while Ethel created Queen's Terror. For Gerard, a new blade entitled Daneslave was crafted. Despite his accomplishments, Kel was left with a craving for rice, a food unknown in their world. The Gyrup decided to go to the water country of Toraj, a place where a rice-like plant grows. He will also fulfill his promise of showing Sira the whole world. They were all going in carriage. They crossed a river and Sira got excited. Kel told her that they'd do fishing together when they got to Toraj. Gerard reminded him that Melfina is missing. She had gone to get an avatar for herself, with which she could be summoned and move freely as well. On the way, their carriage was stopped by a band of thieves called the Black Wind. They were all under level 35, so Kel sent Sira to take care of them and asked her not to use Erendite as she wouldn't need it. She went out and defeated all the bandits and tied them up. It was a piece of cake for her as she was at level 75. The leader of the bandits threatened them by telling them about their boss, who's a level 70, but it didn't work on Kelvin. Finally, they reached the water country of Toraj, which seemed a lot like old Japan. Sira saw the ocean and asked Kelvin to teach her swimming. Ethel wanted to learn as well, and Kel agreed. They went to the Toraj Adventurers Guild, where the guildmater thanked them for defeating the Black Wind and told them that Leo had told her a lot about them as they were in the same party 20 years ago. She then told him about the Black Wind being engaged in slave trading, as a lot of kidnappings had been occurring in Toraj. Kel decided to take them down, but in order to prevent any international political problems, he decided to do it in the name of the heroes who had just arrived in the city. This told the heroes about the Black Wind. The leader, Kanzaki, decided to stop them, but her party members wanted to complete the main mission. They ended up getting the job of saving the kidnapped people. Kel and his party went to the Black Wind's hideout, where they defeated all the guards and protected the slaves. They went to fight the higher-ups and had an upper hand throughout the fight. The party of heroes came to the hideout. They sensed the presence of the kidnapped people and went in. There, they saw Clotho. A little girl prevented the hero from attacking him, saying that it was the pet of the adventurer who had saved them. The mother of that girl requested that the hero help the adventurers defeat the bandits of this lair. They went into the last room, as all the other ones were empty. There they saw the actual bandits lying on the ground and thought them to be the Ranka adventurers. They went further in and found Kelvin and his party and thought them to be the Black Wind bandits. Now that the heroes had faced Kelvin, they decided to introduce themselves one by one. The swordsman was Toya Kanzaki. With him were Satsuna Shiga, Nana Mizuoka, and Miyabi Kuramiya. Kelvin provoked him and challenged the four of them alone. Kanzaki wanted to fight alone, but his teammates told him that it would be better for them to fight the leader together. Before the fight, Ethel suggested Kel rethink his decision as the heroes seemed to possess some unknown ability. Kelvin assured her that he would be fine as he was taking this chance as a training session to fight against a strong group, and for that, he was using a special weapon called the Skill Eater. To begin the battle, the heroes sought help from the elemental fairies. Kanzaki rushed into Kel, and as a counter, he used the Radiant Lancer. They all blocked his attacks, and Nana called out a dragon from her bag, which used a flamethrower on Kel. He dodged the attack and went behind Miyabi to copy her skill using Skill Eater. The other girls went to heal her, while Kanzaki mindlessly attacked Kelvin. He lost his advantage in numbers and was now fighting with him all alone. Kelvin, on the other hand, was fighting barehandedly, as he had already copied Sira's martial arts skills. The battle got intense when Satsuna came to help him. Kel went back and used Adamantine Rampart to protect him. Satsuna used the Zentetsu Can and sliced the rock wall, but suddenly, Kelvin attacked them with a giant energy ball. Before the attack could hit her, Kanzaki blocked it off with his sword. He got hurt but refused to take any healing, as he wanted to get strong to defeat the Demon King. Satsuna slapped the senses in him and told him to work together as a team, as he was not the only hero. Kanzaki understood and got ready for the second round. They used a light fairy to blind Kel, then Frostbound to prevent his movements. Miyabi used a felony crush, with which he was pressurized into the ground. Satsuna and Toya came together to attack him, but Kel triggered the cleft detonation and blasted himself. They got protected because of the light fairy's shield. Kelvin used Blind Cure to recover from the damage that he had suffered. Kelvin praised their teamwork and suggested the two ages use more offensive spells. The third round of the fight began with Toya revealing the true form of his holy sword. Donna used Fozen Temple, the strongest spell that she had. Kelvin got trapped in it. Miyabi summoned a Gravedeath Ogre and attacked Kel, but he also summoned the Adamantine Guardian, which protected him from their attack. He ordered the golems to hold off the heroes for 30 seconds until he made a new spell using Miyabi's skill, Parallel Thinking. Slicing off the golems, Satsuna went there to stop Kel, but he had already created the spell by now. He used Radiant Crossfire and broke free from the ice. One by one, he finally defeated all of them, and in the end, he finished Kanzaki with a single punch on his face, and with that, he fainted there. Later, he woke up and saw his party members worrying about him. Other than them, he also saw the little girl before sitting on Kelvin's lap. She explained the whole situation to him and told him that he was the adventurer who had saved him. Kanzaki acknowledged his abilities and told him to be his teacher. Kelvin accepted his request and gave him the first task, which was to strip down. Now that the kidnapped people have been rescued, the criminals have also been sent to jails, where they are being questioned. This thanked Kelvin for helping them out and saving the people. Later, Kel took the heroes for a seaside punishment where they had to fight the Octogigant. Kelvin was instructing them from behind, and in the end, they managed to slay the monster. He was helping them because they're not up to the mark to defeat the Demon King, but the main reason was that they came from the same world as his. Now that the monster had been slayed, it was time for them to have lunch. Ethel prepared it for all of them. Kel asked Toya what he would do if he were to fight an S-rank boss. He knew that he and his party members were weak, so he said that they would run away from it. Just then, Sira ran towards them and told them that she had caught a fish. It was not a fish but the dungeon boss monster, the Sinister Dragon. An S-rank monster. Kelvin asked Toya what he would do, as if he ran away, then the people around him would suffer. Kanzaki had his mind prepared. He said that he wouldn't be fighting any reckless battles anymore as he had become considerate of his teammates. Kel understood that and defeated the boss. Later, the heroes bid farewell to Kel and his party. As a parting gift, Kelvin gave them pendants that he had made. When they left, he asked Gerard about the Lysia Empire that had attacked the Alcarl Empire. He wanted to defeat the Empire by himself. Gerard said that it was an impossible task back then, but now it seems possible as they are all at a level where they are defeating S-rank monsters like a breeze. Their party had grown a lot in strength. While they were coming back, Sierra told him that Mist had told her that someone wanted to meet them. Kelvin understood that the reason for which they had come here was finally going to be fulfilled. He knew that the person who wanted to meet them was the king of the country. They went to the castle, where Gerard told him that the first ruler of this country was also a summoned warrior from another world. The castle was made in Japanese style, and there were tatami mats inside. They greeted the queen of the Toraj, who was Japanese by name. She was Tsubaki Fujiwara. The queen thanked him for the deeds he did in her country and told him to ask for whatever he wanted from her. Kelvin asked for permission to buy the unique crop that grows in her country. The queen laughed at first, as she had never expected them to settle for just some rice. She confirmed if they wanted anything else. Kel agreed and asked her to let them have a meal. The queen brought all types of Japanese foods, but Kelvin only took rice. She also promised to send him as much rice as he wanted for free. Ethel also learned some Japanese recipes there, while others enjoyed the food. A few days later, Queen Tsubaki again invited them to her castle. Ethel brought some lunch for Kel, and the queen joined him too, as she preferred Ethel's cooking over her chef's. Ethel has an S-rank cooking skill, because of which she's so good at it. The queen asked Kel to leave Ethel for her, but this was something that he couldn't do. She then suggested that he have his party work for the Toraj Empire, but this was also something that he could not do as his party members were not in favor of it. As a final resort, the queen asked him to remain as her personal caretaker, but Kelvin refused, saying that they needed to go back to Parth as monsters were attacking it from all sides. She told him that Parth is called the calm city of the eastern continent and said that she was happy to have someone like him protecting it. She also told him that if he ever changes his mind, he could come to serve Toraj, as he will always be welcomed here. She had also made special arrangements for them to return to Parth through the teleportation gate. Ethel asked her why the heroes were not sent through the gate. To this end, Queen Tsubaki told her that the gates require permission from the gate administrators of both sides, and it also requires a lot of magic, but since they have the permission on their guild cards, they can use it. Through the gate, Kelvin and his team reached Parth in an instant. He went to the inn, where he had food. Claire was happy to know that the Queen of Parth liked him a lot. She told him that it was Ange who's telling everyone about it. Kel got up and told Claire that he was going to buy a house. Kel bought a big house with separate rooms for everyone. Gerard went to the basement to use it as a training hall, while Ethel selected the room next to Kel's. Clotho wanted to remain outside, so Kel gave him the garden. This house had a separate bath, because of which Kel had bought it. Soon the kidnapped girl and his mother arrived, as they were hired as servants. Later at night, Kel was feeling relaxed as he had finally taken a bath, but he was also missing Claire's food. He wanted to pay her a visit, but before that, Melfina arrived. She had finally found a suitable avatar, and in order to look at her, Kelvin summoned her. She was an angelic being, which took Kel's heart in a storm. Now that Melfina had been summoned, she introduced herself to all the other party members at the dinner table. She praised Ethel's cooking skills and apologized to Sierra for her father's demise. Sierra knows what she meant and doesn't mind it at all, as Melfina was not the one who summoned the heroes by her will. Kel suggested they not use her real name around as she's a popular goddess in Dirmes. They decided to call her Mel. She, on the other hand, granted Kelvin the grace of Melfina, goddess of reincarnation. This will grant Kel 2 effects. The first one was complete protection from one fatal wound, once a month. They all got excited about it, but the second effect was the most important one. The second effect grants him the ability to summon heroes. Later, Mel and Sierra had a friendly battle that was not weighing on either side. Both of them were fighting equally until Sierra revealed Victor's Jin scrimmage. Seeing that Mel also revealed her true form with divine dress using her holy powers, she clashed with Sierra and initially got her divine spear broken. It seemed that Sierra had won, but her Jin scrimmage also got broken. The fight ended with a draw. Gerard asked them why they were fighting this fiercely. They told him that the winner of this fight would have gotten the right to sleep besides Kel. Later, both of them had a bath while Mel asked Ethel about Kelvin being troubled. Ethel reminded her that it was because of the new hero summoning ability that he had obtained. In the evening, Kelvin was standing by the pond, still thinking about the hero summoning. Mel went to him and fed him chocolates. He then asked her about the importance of heroes in this world and why they needed to be summoned from another world. Before telling him about the heroes, she told him about the demon kings. In this world, demon kings occur naturally in cycles that take place over many years. All these demon kings possess a special skill called papias, which has two very powerful effects. The first effect was the multiplication of the wickedness in the demon king's nature, because of which their entire personality got corrupted. The second ability nullifies all the damage that they take. In other words, it makes them invincible. Kel got shocked and asked her how they would defeat a being that is practically invincible. She told him that the heroes that are summoned into this world have a completely different nature of powers, which does not clash with the demon king's invincibility, and thus damages him. Even though the presence of otherworldly heroes is necessary for this world, Kel still felt bad for bringing people over without their will. Mel told him that it is not necessary for the heroes to be brought into this world without their consent, as this summoning can be done in two ways. The first one is teleportation, which they did with the heroes that are currently here. The second one is the reincarnation summoning, from which she brought him here. Reincarnation gives new life to dead souls but also requires a huge amount of MP, so it's better to reincarnate only one person at a time. It also has the perk of selecting whatever skill the person wants along with their physical characteristics and traits as their bodies are rebuilt. With this explanation, the details of summoning were clarified, and it became easy for Kel to make the decision. Later that day, Kelvin told everyone about his decision. He wanted to reincarnate a lost soul. Everyone agreed with his decision, and then the reincarnation process began. Kel unsummoned all of them, then drank a recovery potion to fill up all of his mana. He instructed Mel to reincarnate a single person using all of his MP, and told her to leave 1 point for him. She complied and began the summoning ritual. Now that the reincarnation circle has been created, Kel is free. He had some tea while the new hero was selecting skills for himself. Soon, the hero selected her skills and decided not to change her physical appearance or age. She got reincarnated, and Kel welcomed her. They introduced themselves, and the hero is called Ryosiki. She was a child. She first confirmed if she had really been reincarnated into a different world. She then broke into tears, thanking Kel for reincarnating her into this world. She fell down, and following her, Kel also fell down, as they were both exhausted due to the huge MP consumption. Later that night, Ryo woke up and realized that she was in another world. She went out and was amazed to see that she was able to run. Kel came and told her about his journey. Ryo was impressed with his story. She told him that she remained sick almost all of her life. She didn't even go to school, but now she had the chance to relive her life. She didn't want to miss it, and she said that she would help him in any way possible. She became Kelvin's little sister to reduce suspicions from the people around them, as black hair is rare at this place. Kel also asked her to change her name, as Ryo is quite an odd name for a place like this. She came up with the name Rion, as that was the name that she used in her fantasies. Kel accepted it and welcomed her to the fantasy world of her life, filled with magic. Later that night, Kel felt Ethel in her bed and woke up. But instead of Ethel, it was Sierra. He remembered them having a quarrel to sleep beside him. From behind, he felt a hand that turned out to be Mel's, and beneath his blanket, there was Rion. He was surrounded by girls and wondered if he was like this in his previous life as well. The next day, they all went to the dark purple forest. Kel and his party had both Ellie and Lucy with them. He had brought them to increase their level to prevent any mishappening. Even though he had golems placed outside his house, he wanted them to remain strong enough to sustain themselves. Lucy told him that they had never fought any monsters before, but Kel told her that it was fine as the three of them just needed to remain idle. He was using his experience sharing skills, because of which Rion, Lucy, and Ellie will see their levels increase as other party members are constantly killing the monsters. Sierra was having a competition with Gerard and Clotho to kill the most monsters. Soon all three of them got their levels and stats increased. They were surprised to see the sudden jump in their stats. Ethel, on the other side, saw a shadow wolf coming towards them. Kel told her not to shoot and to let it come near them. The shadow wolf spoke to them, and Kelvin used air pressure to lower its HP. He then formed a contract with it and made it one of his summonses. He summoned it back, and he became Rion and Lucy's favorite. Ethel, using her distant vision, saw Erd and his party coming to them. Kelvin didn't expect the forest to be this busy. Erd saw them and asked what all of them were doing. Kel said that it was a picnic and asked his reason for arriving. Erd told him that his party got the opportunity to get promoted to rank B, but for that, they had to clear a challenge. They asked Kel about all the new girls that he had, and Kel introduced them to each other. Seeing Kel having a party full of beautiful girls, Erd's party members got jealous and ran away. Followed them as he wanted them to focus on the challenge. Soon Sira, Gerard, and Clotho came back and asked the party about as they saw him chasing his party members. Kel told him about the promotion exam for which they had arrived here, but hearing that, Sira and Gerard told him that they could have caused a problem as they had killed almost every single monster in the forest. Kel knew that they had messed up and went to to apologize for ruining their promotional exam. Told him not to apologize and said that the leader would understand if he explained it to him. He also suggested Kel get an S rank, as his party had already grown so strong. Later, Kelvin washed the shadow wolf that he had summoned, and Rion named him Alex. Kel partnered with both of them, and thus their adventures began. She also had the skill to understand the animal language, and because of it, they went along quite well. They did a lot of things together and grew a lot closer to each other. At night, Kel woke up and saw Sira, Rion, and Clotho in the main hall. They had noticed the presence of some unknown men outside their house. There were almost 14 of them, but all of them were weak, around level 26 at best. Kel handled this job for Rion and Alex. He gave them a mini Clotho and access to the summon network, along with a resonating mithril sword that was reforged from the one that he had gotten from Cashel. He sent them out to fight the bandits, who were all easily defeated by the duo. Sira and Kel were watching over her from the window. They were happy to have a successful result in their first real battle. Kel went down and told Clotho to clean up the bodies while he went into the forest to take their leader down. The scene shifted to Trison Castle. All the higher-ups, including the Emperor, Zel Trison, were having a round-table meeting. The prince, along with the princess, the mixed-breed army general, and the knight general were present in it. The matter of discussion was the adventurer Kristoff, who got caught in Toraj while kidnapping slaves. The knight general said that it was a ridiculous idea that was given by Tristan, the beast army general. The king sided with the knight general and said that if they were not careful, they would have to face a serious backlash from the three nations of Toraj, Daramis, and Gon as they were in an alliance. Tristan suggested they have a war. Their military power is greater than that of the three nations combined, and they also have the advantage of having the dragon force with them. The knight general, along with the princess, opposed it, saying that it was not the right time for them to have a war. Prince Asgard supported Tristan, and the votes are now equal. The last missing general was called to do a tiebreaker. A soldier was sent to call him, but in his chamber, only female knights were standing, and a lot of women were lying on the floor. The soldier told him to go to the king, as he had called him. He didn't want to go, but he still got up and asked the soldier if he was pretty. Now that the assassins of Trison have been sent to jail, the guild master told Kel that they were sent to kill him to take revenge for Kristoff, whom he had defeated and caught. The disturbances around the borders of the Trison were observed by all the countries around, which meant that the political leaders of the Trison were up to something. The guild master told Kel to keep his guard up and told him about the Beast King of Gon, who wanted to meet him. As an S-rank promotional exam, Kelvin and his team were sent to Gon. On their way, they had to stop at an elven village on the southern side of Gon. Elfin remembered the place a little, which Kel said should be natural as it was inherited by the elves. In order to become an S-rank adventurer, Kelvin needed to have the approval of 2 rulers, out of which he already got one from Queen Tsubaki, and for the second one, they were going. The Beast King Leonhardt was a person who left the country while he was a teen. He learned to fight, grew stronger, and ended up becoming an S-rank adventurer himself. While Mel was keeping an eye from above, they almost reached the elven village, where they were attacked by the elves. Kelvin showed them the summoning letter of King Leonhardt, which they believed. The elder of the village, Nelriz, apologized to Kel for attacking them. He saw Ethel and got shocked. He called her Lumil and asked how she was still alive. They went in, where Nelriz told them about Lumil. This story began 20 years ago, when their village was attacked by the great fire dragon Kaying. He wanted the elf who had humiliated him, but since no one knew about it, they didn't do anything, and half of their village got destroyed. At that moment, an elf named Lumil, who looks like Ethel, came forward and told the Dragon King to kill her and leave the village. The Dragon King made her his wife and took her away, and after that, the elves fled from the west and settled here. Many years later, they found Lucille's dead body in the forest. There was a chance that Ethel was their daughter, but Mel told them that a half-elf is born from a human and an elf, as a dragon's blood would be too strong for her. Nelriz apologized to them for telling such a sad story, which he still doesn't know about completely. Ethel said that it was fine for her, as he was fine. Now that she has valuable comrades and a family, she's happy. Kel discussed the main matter with Nelriz. There is an S-rank monster who has been kidnapping elves. They had a barrier to protect themselves, but it was not that strong, as Kel had easily crossed it. Kel took permission from the elder to renovate the village so that he could protect it from all sides. Permission was granted, and Kel went to work. Later that night, the mixed breed beast army of Trison was on its way to fulfill Tristan's wish of crushing Gon. While they were at it, suddenly all of their soldiers started falling one by one. There were no arrows to be found, which meant that it was not the work of an archer. On the other side, Kel was directing Ethel to kill the soldiers. She was given a shadow bow merciless, which had the ability to make silent arrows that disappeared when hit. Kel had created a watchtower and a huge wall surrounding the village using adamantine rampart. He also had a moat filled with Syrah's black magic and some fog from Mel, which made the forest invisible. He placed Gerard on the entrance and used Syrah, Mel, and Rion as his attacking force. An enemy soldier went back to his base and told his superior that they were being attacked by an adventurer party. Mel and Rion followed him and reached the base as well. The general used their secret weapon, the Gigant Lord. Mel saw it and told Rion and Alex to handle it, as defeating it would mean that they had become full-fledged adventurers. Rion didn't want to miss this chance and went to defeat the Gigant Lord. She hit the giant with her sword but got it shattered. She was thrown away, but she didn't lose hope. Rion got 2 swords for herself and for Alex from Clotho and went ahead. Using the 3 swords, they used Generate Edge and took down the giant. The general ordered the Gigant Lord to transform into his real form, the Gigant Furnace, and so he did. He was a giant, burning monster who attacked her with purgatorial flames. Rion dodged the attack and used a full-powered Generate Edge, taking down the monster for the last time. The army generals were dumbfounded to see a little girl defeating the army of Trison with some other adventurers. She went back to Mel, who was proud of her. Kel and Ethel saw the fight from afar and praised Rion's growth as a warrior, but then they got attacked by the general of the Trison Magic Knights, Clive. Clive had his eyes on Ethel. He called her the most interesting elf that he had seen. He wanted her to join his harem, and for that, he hypnotized her, but Kel saw it through and rejected his spell. Kel used Appraisal Eye and realized that he was a reincarnated person like him as well. He sent Ethel inside the village and started the fight by creating obsidian swords. Clive protected himself using the Helix barrier, which repelled all of Kelvin's attacks. His knights attacked Kelvin from behind, which he blocked. Clive was almost shot down by Ethel's penetration attack but saved himself in the last moment. Kel brought up his adamantine golems with obsidian swords and ordered them to not kill the knights as they were hypnotized as well. Now they were alone, and so the battle between them began. They were both attacking each other with magic spells, but no one was getting hit. Kel saw that Clive was recklessly hitting his own party members and told him to stop, but he said he had a lot of people to spare. He told Kel that they should not care about the people of this world, as they do not belong to this place. Kel got angry and used Vortex Edge while Clive attacked with his Helix barrier up. Clive got a scar on his face, and in anger, he used his Rank S spell. Kel, on the other hand, got his staff broken. He gave it to Clotho and took the Black Staff Disaster. This weapon was incomplete, but Kel still decided to use it. He attacked with Borea's Deathsith and sliced everything in half. He severed Clive's legs and was about to finish him, but he was saved by Tristan. He introduced himself and took Clive away with him using some weird kind of teleportation, which even Kel didn't understand. Later, the elder decided to have a feast to celebrate the adventurer's victory. Kel went there and saw the girls rushing towards him to get praised first. Rion used a self-invented spell and won the race. Kel praised her and the others too. The scene shifted to Tristan, who had healed Clive and had tied him with chains. He ordered his knight to test the 1342 cursed weapons that they had created on him. He also ordered one of them to heal him from time to time to let him suffer every type of pain that he could. Back at the village, everyone was enjoying the party, but Kel was sitting alone on a mountain. Ethel came to him and showed him the charm that her mother, Lumil, had left for her. Kel told her that he was grateful to be reincarnated and to meet people like them. He took that charm and placed it on Ethel's hair. The other party members arrived. With them, a little elf girl came too and thanked Kelvin for saving them. She then revealed the truth and told them that she was King Leonhardt, and it was not her true form. She also told them that Kelvin had passed his exam and had reached the S rank. She also told him about a celebration that is taking place in the next 4 days, where all the S-rank adventurers have to battle against each other. Kelvin got excited hearing that, and with that, the first part of his journey in the new world ended.